Hey, everybody. Hey, it's Kisa, Coach K, and I am in probably one of the coolest work sites. We certainly have a number of wonderful ones in Birmingham, so please don't hear what I'm not saying. But I'm here at Creed 63 in downtown Birmingham for all of the entrepreneurs and business owners who need a space for business. Check it out. They have lots of options too, and lots of budget-friendly options. So whereas you might think it would be an expensive proposition, it really isn't. And the thing that I love about it here is they have all of these wonderful and encouraging signs here. Got a sign over here. You see the teaching from it before. It's called Think Big, okay? So here's my homework that I'm going to pull up very shortly on relationship red flags. I'll pull this up very, very shortly. But yeah, we just want to teach today around relationship red flags. We're going to continue the teaching. Went ahead and took that music off because we're getting ready to go right in today. So yesterday, we've been really dealing with this over the past few weeks. And by the way, who am I? I'm Kisa. I'm Coach K. I am a life coach, media veteran, media pro, media expert, communicator, all that great stuff, columnist for the Birmingham Times. Shout out one time to the Birmingham Times and all the staff over there. You need to support our local paper, one of the only African-American weeklies still running in the country and one of the longest running in the country. So you can check out my work, my motivational work, my coaching at KisaSharp.com/life coaching. Being that I am a media veteran, I write, I MC, but these are things that are easy for me to do, right? So sometimes when people hear what I do, they're like, you do so much. I do, but MCing a program, that's like the back of my hand. Writing a story, that's like the back of my hand. Producing a video, that's like the back of my hand. Coaching these courses and coaching and talking us through this whole dating arena, that's like the back of my hand. So just being faithful in this season to use all of my gifts that God has given me. That is my website. You can check it out and see some of the services that I offer. And you can even set up a complimentary coaching call. And if I'm not the coach for you, no problem. I specialize in change. I call myself the life change strategist. But, as a coach, there are many areas in which we deal with. Normally, we specialize in one area, but there are many areas that we can deal with that come under the umbrella of that one area. So, for instance, my area is change. I like dealing with change, okay, and preparing people for change. And think about it. Change happens across so many fronts in our life, right? Whether it's in our lives, okay? We're changing as we become more mature and more fabulous, by the way, might I add, as we become more mature. So we're changing in our lives. We're changing in our careers. We're hotshot, 20 and 30-year-olds in our careers and 40-year-olds. And by the time you get 50 and 60, some of that wanes down, even though statistics show that we become more productive in life in our 50s and 60s. That's a note to those of you who are discouraged about something in your career or life. We become more productive in our senior years. Those are facts, statistics to support that. So there's still room for you. But change anyway in our lives, in our careers, and also the third arm of that, which I'm standing on right now, standing on business, y'all, with this, is our relationships. Woo boy. Woo child. Talking about this dating arena. In fact, let me just take a sip of my coffee. Which looks more like coffee and 90% cream, because I don't like a heavy shot of coffee. But let me take a sip, because when we talk about that dating stuff, woo! It's not bad. It's not good. It's just different. So that's what I'm talking about. A change has come. There has been change, ladies and gentlemen, and we are navigating that change. There are lots of theories that float out there in terms of why we're dealing with so much change as relationships go. There are lots of theories that go out there. Some are along that camp that say, well,
Back in the day, women sort of had to depend on men a little bit more than what they do now because the men were the primary breadwinners. And as a result, women couldn't go anywhere. So they had to kind of tolerate their behavior, or they couldn't go anywhere. They couldn't do anything. So whatever the men did, and we're talking about even having, you got your family right here, front and center, and all the way over here across the street, you got another family. Women, sorry, dropped my glasses. Women sort of had to deal with that because the men were the primary bread earners back in the day. In fact, I can even look at some examples very close to home, of women who, because the man was the primary breadwinner and they had several children, they stayed in situations which were very unfavorable for the women. But where could they go if the livelihood of that household was based upon the husband and what he did to take care and provide for the household? So in some instances, women tolerated tremendous amounts of abuse. Oh, but let me be fair. In some instances, there were men who dealt with some things as well too. But in all honesty, we do know we have a lot of cases where there are men, women who dealt with a lot of cases of abuse and dealt with some things in relationships that just were not favorable. And I'm specifically referencing the era, which is not today, but years ago when the men were the primary breadwinners. Okay, so a lot of times the women stayed in the marriages, not just dating relationships, but they stayed in the marriages because where were they going to go with 3 children? Where were they going to go with 10 children if they had not become accustomed to running a household and earning wages? So we're coming out of that system now, and we're in an era squarely right now where women are doing it for themselves, sisters. And I'm talking about my brown skinned sisters, I'm talking about my light skinned sisters, my vanilla sisters too. Sisters are doing it for themselves. So our expectations are different. We're not squarely looking, in most cases, we're not squarely looking to the man to provide. Shout out to all the men who do. Shout out to the men who hold it down. Shout out 1, 2, 3 times to you, okay? I'm not being disrespectful, not having a disregard for the family structure, just talking about some generalities. And I'm talking very generally, okay, about some of the things that we've seen and how things have shifted. All right. So they've shifted a little bit, okay, in the sense that women are earning money. Women are having to take care of themselves and their households, sometimes their children. And women have gone to school, and women in large part have an expectation of that. Now, there's some women who are out there living the soft life, okay? When I say the soft life, I mean their husbands are taking care of everything for them. They take care of that household, and the husband's going out there still in 2024. I'm not mad at you, okay? Shout out 1 time, shout out 2 times, shout out 3 times to the husbands and the wives who are living the soft life. For the husbands who are making that possible for their wives, shout out to you, okay? Proud of you, appreciate you. For a number of women, though, they're not necessarily living that soft life at the hands of their husbands. They're having to maintain their own household. So what we're finding now is that because of that, I believe that women are taking care of themselves. They're earning wages, and they're accustomed to managing their own households. So what I believe has happened, women kind of have more, not kind of, women have more of a voice now and are saying, if I'm going to help you in this household, we're going to pay bills, and we're going to be a team together, team whatever, paying bills together. I go to work, you go to work. Then there are just certain things I'm not necessarily going to do, or certain things I'm not going to take, or certain things I have an expectation now of you, sir, because I earn my own money. You don't have to give me money. You don't have to take me on vacations necessarily. You can, but I'm saying I can do that for myself. So I have these other expectations. Sometimes women have other expectations now. Ooh, and I'm teaching right now, just kind of talking through this and teaching through this. Women have other expectations of emotional support. Just support in a whole different way that not only includes financial, but those other things that are important as well. Partner support, being present in the household, support that can come in so many different forms, not just financial, but emotional support, household support, and everything that comes with that, personal support, a person being present. That's what I'm talking about. Emotional support. I need you to be present. I need you to hear me as I'm talking through my day. I want you to hear me, sir. I want you to hear me, ma'am. I want you to, to empathize with me. I want you to understand when I'm having a tough day, and to understand that I'm not, I'm frustrated today. So I may not be as present, or I may be a little more irritated, or I may not be in a capacity or space, even because I've dealt with all this stuff in the corporate arena. I've dealt with all these workers. I've had to meet these deadlines. I've dealt with all of these personalities, and I'm managing all these people. And so when I come home, I may not want to stand over a stove and cook a cake, and I may not want to put on the apron and serve you. Now I can, but boy, if you were to support me today, husband or significant other, that would be so significant to me, because I've had a tough day at work. Now, conversely, he may have also had a tough day at work, okay? So he will also need the support. He will also need your encouragement as well. The beautiful thing is when the couple can recognize that we both need it. And as a result of both needing that, we're not fighting about who's going to make the dinner. We may just order takeout tonight. Come on, somebody. We may just order takeout tonight. You're bossed up, she's bossed up. But how beautiful is it when bosses come together? I think of things like, and don't tell me it can't be done. I think of things like Jay-Z and Beyonce. Another couple I follow and I love to follow, and I love their example. Y'all, this gentleman is fine as cat hair. Okay. Michael J. White. If you don't know him, go look him up. He's a looker. You won't be disappointed either way. He's married, but you won't be disappointed either way, because he's a looker. Okay. He's from that Why Did I Get Married fame. Why Did I Get Married from Tyler Perry 1 and 2. He was married to the outgoing Tasha, the sister girl who was just wild and outlandish. He was married to her. He starred in the movie Spawn and has starred in a number of other movies as well. But he talks very frankly now about how he loves his wife and how she gets a beautiful version of him that no one has ever seen before. So high-powered couples can do it. Hollywood couples who deal with pressures unknown that you and I wouldn't even have any idea about. Another person that I think about, Lamont Rucker. Lamont Rucker has his wife, I believe her name is Kelly, but he too is an actor, number of soap operas, the Black Hamptons, different TV shows. What is it? The Pains, House of Pain, from Tyler Perry as well. But these are people who are doing Egypt Sherrod and her husband. I believe it's Mike Sherrod, but Egypt Sherrod, high-powered real estate couples. So couples are doing this. So you cannot tell me that this is not possible, because we see it. The question is, how are they making it happen, or what are some tools that they're instituting to make that happen on that level, being in those high-powered positions, and just understanding the traditional roles may have to go out the door. So that was a long setup to say that may be why we're in a different place. And I think everybody is adjusting to their role. And I'm just going to say this as I move on, because we are dealing with relationship red flags, right? I'm going to say this as we move on. Things have shifted. Things have adjusted. And ladies, a special message to you. As we adjust and as things have shifted, perhaps we need to understand too that there's a whole different way that we're going to have to deal with our men. I have been thinking through this and have had to kind of come to terms with some things as well. I was talking to a couple of my friends the other day after doing one of my shows. And, I was like, I'm surely, why do people say I'm a boss? Surely I don't come across as a boss, do I? And both of the gentlemen said, yeah, you come across as a boss. So what I would say in that is to myself and to all of us, that knowing that we're in positions where for most of our lives, especially if we've been single and we're not accustomed to answering to anyone, ladies, the way you deal, and I will say this and I will give him his credit. Pastor Doug Taylor from Rebirth Christian said this. He said, now, The issue is not that a lady is a boss, okay? Because he manned up and said, listen, my wife is a boss. She's a strong leader. He said, but you can't bring that attitude of being a boss into the household with your husband. The way that you talk to or talk and deal at work, you have to get tough in the boardroom. Come on, somebody. Anybody else worked in corporate America like me? From TV stations to corporations. You have to be tough in the boardroom to be heard. They will eat you for lunch and then spit you out and then step over you. That's just corporate America as a whole, okay? Anybody will tell you that is corporate America. Now, I'm grateful for my time in corporate America. Please understand, but I'm talking about in particular personalities, people, and the way you do business in corporate America. I'm grateful for my time in corporate America. Please don't hear anything other than that. I'm grateful. I'm saying just the way we do business, and even in business, as a business owner, the way I do business and being assertive and getting things done and having that attitude of, you don't want excuses. I need to get it done. We're moving. I'm on a deadline. I have things to do. That attitude does not translate over into, so you know what? This is our relationship red flag. I was going to go a different direction, but I'm going to stay right here. Understanding that we'll call this mind shifts, which are important. Relationship red flags, mind shifts, not being acutely aware that we all need a mind shift. The way that a woman sits and handles her business, whether she's the CEO of her company, like me and like many of you I'm connected to, or whether she's sitting in the boardroom and it has a high-powered job like I have had and many of you have or have had, it does not translate well into a marriage in dealing with your husband as such, being the leader and the head of that household. Gentlemen, let me stand on the other side. Knowing that your woman is a person who has great leadership abilities, who is a boss in some instances in the corporate arena or in her own business, the way that daddy them dealt with her back in the day or dealt with women back in the day, that can't translate to today. You can't just tell us, because I said, now in some instances when decisions have to be made, we get that. But I'm just saying, wouldn't we all just do better if we just sat down and had a conversation? This is what I need from the ladies, from the guys' perspective. This is what I need. I understand you're a boss. This is what I need from you, though, when we're making decisions in this household. Now, if we're going to do this according to the Bible, this is what the Bible says. And listen, let's think about this. Let's talk about this. And let's come back together and see how we make this work for our household. Ladies, on the other side, here's what you need. We're talking about having success. If you're talking about success in your relationships, and I'm talking about before you get married, see, you do this before you get married. While you're dating, you have these tough conversations while you're dating. On the other side, ladies, you say, listen, I have an opinion. I want you to hear me. It doesn't mean that my opinion is right. It doesn't mean that we're going to go with my opinion, but could you at least listen to me? Could you at least allow me to have some input, whatever that input is? Even if you are very firm on that decision or you're going to make that decision, can you at least include me so I'll know to pray about it so I can go talk to God on my own? And rather than us arguing over this, because ladies, this mouth can get us in trouble, rather than us arguing and fighting over it, I may just need a little time to process it. So can I come back a little later when I kind of calm down? Because a lot of times, ladies, we can lead with emotion. If we don't understand and don't like, guess what? The emotional aspect comes out. We're upset and blah, blah, blah. Well, emotion really doesn't play into godly decisions. It really shouldn't have a basis in godly decisions. We have emotions. We don't deny emotions. But if we lead with emotions, we're in trouble. If we lead with emotions, we're in trouble. I was listening to someone where they talked about Eve, a video my friend sent me, and talking about Eve going and listening to the serpent, okay? Emotions led her to do it. She'd heard what God said. He told her not to eat here, not to eat this fruit in the midst, but she did it anyway. Okay. So let me go to the board here. I'm shifting as I'm talking to you all. I'm shifting. I thought I was going another place, but I'm going to go right here. Relationship red flags is what we're dealing with. Can you see that pretty good? I know it's in red, y'all, but this is the only color that I had today. So I'm tearing up stuff here. Relationship red flags. Having mind shifts is important. Okay? Having mind shifts is important. Talking about relationship red flags, when a person does not have a mind shift, that's a red flag. And I'm going to just say simply under here, we need to learn to relate to one another differently. Listen, y'all, it's not good. You'll hear me say this a lot. We need to learn to relate to each other differently, okay? And when I say differently, I'm not questioning whether or not the man is the head of the household and the woman should submit to him. I'm not questioning that. There is no question about that, okay? And let me just say this. A woman is happy to submit to a man who's a strong leader. It's all in how you deal with her. A man is happy to work with a woman who's a boss. It's all in how you deal with him. You hear what I'm saying with this? What I'm saying is relationship red flags. And maybe I should term it this way. Not being willing to have a mind shift is a relationship red flag. Because times are different. Situations are different. Roles have changed a little bit. Not being willing to have a mind shift is a red flag. And having that conversation while we're dating. We don't wait till we get married. Come, y'all listen to me. Listen, we don't wait till we get married. We have the conversation while we're dating. I'm not saying the first date. I'm not saying the second or third one. But if you see this ship is lining up and going along the right course, we got to have this conversation. We got to have this conversation. Understanding roles. We need to learn, okay? If you can read my writing there. We need to learn to relate to one another differently. The traditional roles have been challenged. The traditional definitions of what a woman does and what a man does, that's changed in some instances. Now, sometimes it's the same. You may have some women who, hey, their husband's going to take care of everything, and you may see that in some instances, and you do see that in some instances today. You know, women who don't work, the man takes care of everything. Only danger in that, though, is sometimes when that husband passes on, that lady doesn't know how to manage a household. That's the only danger in that. If she's kind of sitting back and not taking notes or knowing how to handle things, that's the only danger in that. But especially when you have a household where the man and woman, the husband and wife are earning incomes, you got to talk about that. If you're dating someone, you have your house, he has his house. You have to talk about these things, relationship red flags, and not being willing to talk about it. Ladies, you could end up in a world of hurt because that man, I'm just giving an example, he could have the idea that even though you're working hard and even though you too are a wage earner, you may even be bringing in more money than he is. But if you don't have the conversation, how do you know that he's not expecting you to still wash his clothes in addition to your clothes, cook a meal every night? Okay, wash the dishes afterwards, clean the house, okay, every day, take care of the kids, get the kids to school and back and forth, okay, make up, keep the house clean, all while you're working a job as well. You all are, you start off and you're single, but as you kind of get married, you're introducing kids and all of these extra responsibilities. Well, he may feel like, hey, I'm going to work and I'm going to go to work. I'm going to, earn a living. I'm the head of the house. You're the woman. So I'm going to go to work. Saturday, I'm going to cut the grass. After that, I'm gone. You take those kids to church. You go to work during the week. You cook. I'm expecting you to have dinner on the table. Most nights of the week, you need to wash the dishes. You need to keep everything clean in the house. And you're thinking, but wait a minute. I'm earning more money than you. Can we talk about that? Can you help me out a little bit? That's why some of you are stressed out and tired today because there was no conversation about this. Or if there was, sometimes people renege and are like, well, yeah, I know you need some help. But listen, I know you need some help, but I'm just not willing. But listen, you can still have the conversation even today. Hey, listen, honey, I need some help. Can you get me some help? If you don't want to do it, can we consider hiring someone? I need some help. There's a whole job or job around running a household. Okay. Ask me how I know. that it's transitioning from corporate America to entrepreneur and trying to be in that household space and do this and cook and keep it clean every day. And then you've got to do your due diligence as it relates to being an entrepreneur. Now I'm a little better now. I'm 4 years in. I'm full-time entrepreneurship. I left corporate America in 2020. I'm a little better today. So I understand how to get up, get things done. You know what I'm saying? It's a whole finesse to it. I mean, you have to finesse that thing. It's an art to it. Okay. But I understand how to do it now because see, as an entrepreneur, really you could work all the time. You have to have balance in that as well. But again, you have to learn your process in that too. Another video for another day, but I had to learn my process. And my process is I like my home clean. I like my space clean and neat. I work better that way. So what does that mean? That means me getting up. That means me sweeping, doing dishes, getting those out of the way, sweeping, vacuuming, getting dishes out of the way. I have to look around and make sure the living room sofa is neat. I have to make sure my bed is made because that's order to me. It sets up order. And once I have that in place, I can really work uninterrupted, okay? And don't get tired. I'm going to make sure I exercise. I'm going to take my vitamins. I'm going to do all of those things in place too, but I had to understand my system, okay? Now, when you start taking along somebody else in your sphere and your responsibility, you need, and it's just me right now, but when you talk about having someone else in your space, you've got to have those conversations about what it looks like. That's why I'm targeting this toward those of you who are dating, because I got a shot with you. We still got a shot, right? But have the hard conversations, have the uncomfortable conversations, because relationship red flag, not understanding that times have changed and not understanding that we need a mind shift. We need to change. That is huge. And I've got something else prepared for you all. But as I started talking about it, we're going to stick right here with this one, mind shift, understanding our mindsets have to change. We got to do different. We got to think different. And I know that is ebonically incorrect, but we have to do different. We have to think different. We have to act differently in this day and age if we're going to see success. Okay. And the goal of this is to give you an advantage, is to give us an advantage in this dating arena, because once you get information, you can understand how to ebb and flow. I don't think the problem often is with us meeting people. I think once we meet people and as we build, the problems come from there, not understanding things are going to be different. The lady may make more money. My female counterpart may make more money than what I do. How does that look in a marriage? How does that look in a union? She may not be able to do the traditional role. She may not be best in a traditional role, who cooks and has dinner waiting at 5 o'clock every day. She may not be best in that role, but what strengths does she bring to the table? Is she the type of person who can cook a meal every day, but just maybe she can't have it hot and ready at 5, but maybe she cooks it early. Maybe she puts it on in the crock pot, and then we can have that roast or, that chicken Alfredo for a couple of days, because she's going to cook it. She's going to have a different vegetable. She's going to cook those vegetables, have a different vegetable the next day. She's going to switch it up a little bit, but hey, she's got a system. It may not look like what I want. She may not have the apron on greeting me at the door with a pan of biscuits, I'm just saying, mind shift. She may not have that, but what would she have? What can she do that'll still allow us as a couple to get from ground zero to ground 10 and to have a successful relationship and to have a successful life? She goes ahead and fulfills her call and purpose. I go ahead and fulfill my call and purpose. And we do so not because each other is perfect, but because we understand how to work with one another. And what works for me and this lady and in our household and in our relationship, it may not be what works for everyone else. Relationship red flags, not having the understanding that a mind shift is needed in this day and age. We need to learn to relate to one another differently. It's not good today. It's not bad today in the dating arena. It's just different. But if we get understanding, We can make it work. I'm Kisa, y'all. I'm Coach K. And by the way, I want to let you know that here's my site. This is how you get in touch with me, KisaSharp.com/life coaching. You can set up a complimentary call or forward my information on to someone else, or just go on the site and hang out and tell me what you think about it. Take a look at it. I really like the site. It's kind of cool, actually, really fun. And my other arm, you all, is that I'm an Alabama maker, okay? Born and bred, got it from my grandmama, Bernice Adams, yes. Growing up with Bernice in the kitchen, making cakes and cookies and all that. So I play in shea butter, okay? I'm a shea butter lady, shea butter connoisseur, okay? Shea butter mogul, you might as well call me. We have a special closing out the summer. We're going to extend it just a couple of days. 30% off, allsheanaturals.com. Shea butters, sugar scrubs. Still have a little bit of time to take advantage of it because we're rebranding and we are relaunching with some new products and all. So I would take advantage of that if I were you, because that's coming down real soon. Also, new partnerships are coming up that we're going to tell you about as well. So stay tuned and happy fall, y'all. Brand new season. We'll talk to you later and see you tomorrow night with our next installment, okay?